Calum asks, didn't you go off the deep end with anti-vax and Bitcoin bullshit? If this is your mea culpa, it's weak, man. Just apologize. Okay, so I actually really like this question because there's a number of layered elements in there. To answer the last bit first, is what I'm doing some sort of mea culpa apology? No, sorry, I'd hate to give you the wrong impression. In general, I stand by my general worldview. I'm not sure exactly what it is you think I need to apologize for, but if you're happy to specify that a little bit further, then I can address something specific. But without something specific, it's not clear what I would be apologizing for. This is just a chance for me to improve who I am, improve my ability to communicate, make videos, etc. Okay, now to the first part of the question, or to the actual question. Did I go off the deep end with anti-vax and Bitcoin bullshit? Okay, so there's a few parts here. There is the analogy of going off the deep end. There is the vax stuff and the Bitcoin stuff. And of course, there's the undertone of passive aggression in the question, which I completely understand. No harm done. Okay, to start, I like the analogy going off the deep end because I think it implies there being a shallow end and a deep end. And if this is some sort of pool, at the shallow end, we have basically the kiddie section with waist-deep water. Everyone's wearing their floaties, and they're supervised at all times by a responsible adult. Whereas in the deep end and beyond, you have people who are willing to take risks because they understand their own competence. So in a sense, when it comes to the medical side of things, making a medical decision for my body, going off and out of the shallow end, I don't need waist deep water. I don't need kiddie floaties, and I don't need a responsible adult to tell me what to think and how to behave. Happily, I myself I'm a fully credentialed research scientist. I have the ability to understand logic. I have the ability to understand research. And so even though you may generally disagree with the worldview that people that you've called anti-vax, I think if you looked into the research and actually tried to come from an unbiased perspective, you would see that the so-called vaccines, because they're not vaccines, the mRNA technology has no appreciable benefit for someone in my position. Looking at the evidence, looking at the data, taking into account the fact that I am a young, fighting fit male in my early 30s, at no point did I ever feel like I needed to be A, scared of the virus, or B, lean on the mRNA technology in order to boost my immune system. So there was no appreciable risk for me when it came to the virus, and there was no appreciable benefit from taking the injection. To put it another way, there's not been a single moment that I have regretted not taking the injection. I'm happy with my decision. I based it on a tremendous amount of research, backed by at least a decade of research training and skills. I'm a fully credentialed research scientist. I have the ability to make nuanced decisions for my own health, and I have absolutely no regrets. So that's that part of the question. There's the Bitcoin stuff. So this is an interesting one because I know that there's a lot of hype around crypto or has been, and then people get wrecked. But you got to understand, I've been in crypto for the better part of a decade now, right? I was in it for a long, long time. And so in exactly the same way, I don't need to play in the kiddie pool. I don't need to wait for somebody to tell me what Bitcoin is and when to buy and all of these things. I was well versed in the technology by about a good half a decade before anyone even really knew what it was, right? So Bitcoin for me gave me the financial freedom that I needed to leave a research position. I was being paid about 90 grand a year. So how many people could walk away from a $90,000 a year job in the middle of a pandemic where there's no ability to take new positions, get hired anywhere, while being the sole breadwinner of a young family at 30 years old? Very few people have achieved what I have achieved financially. And so do I regret either my choices with my health or with my finances? Absolutely not. So yeah, on both those counts, maybe I did go off in the deep end, as in I waded away from the kiddie pool and I went and did my own thing. I trust my abilities, I trust my mind, I trust my body, and I trust my ability to make financial decisions. So the last part of your question obviously is implying, has the assumption that these are both bullshit positions. But in terms of my own personal experience and what I can rationalize and justify, I would say absolutely no regrets on either of those. Okay, so I appreciate the question, Caleb. If I haven't answered you properly, if there's something you would like to, something more specific that you wanted to get at, then please leave another comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.